And we'll talk you through the crews as we go down the race.
It's going to be interesting. Obviously, the Australian crew is all scullers, and the Cal Berkeley crew is, they're all from the 2V8, so it'll be interesting how they adapt to the quad boat, this particular event.
Yeah. So Evie Muir of Huon, you can pick her out with the yellow top. So it's zeroing in now on Della Luke, the stroke of the Cal crew. Della Luke, of course, raced, I think, was it for Marlow in last year's Jubilee, Diamond Jubilee, lost in that final to Shiplake College, so she's going down the track again. And with the scull of her experience, you'd certainly pick the Cal crew to know what they were doing.
Because the Cal crew looked really closer to the booms as they came in there. They were close to the boards. They've just moved out, giving some breathing space. But yeah, you've got your kind of specialist scullers from Australia on your right-hand side of the image, and then the Cal crew, which obviously do a lot more sweep, but it'd be interesting, similar to the pair that raced earlier, where they take a bit of time to get into the stride of this particular boat as they race up the course.
Yeah, well, these women will have been rowing, the Cal women will have been rowing in the Varsity 8s. There we see the Australian crew, Alex Moylan closest to us, Eve Muir with the Huon Boat Club top, the yellow top from Tasmania. And then in the in the two seats, we're seeing Sophie Gerapatris, and up in the bows, Maggie Foley. This crew, they raced in two doubles in Henley Women's Regatta, and Eve Muir from Huon was in the double with Sophie Gerapatris that beat Reading Boat Club by 1 length to win that trophy. The other two women from the quad were also in the women's double sculls at Henley Regatta. They lost to Reading Boat Club. See Cal rowing with those big fat smoothie blades, Mark.
Yeah, it's kind of really interesting that they seem to be a thing that everybody was using, then they went away. Now they seem to have kind of come back into play again. So yeah, every crew will decide on what equipment suits their style of rowing, the way they like to race. So yeah, it's just interesting that they're using them in their quad.
Yeah, the French double Boucheron and Androdias that won in the Olympics back in Tokyo last year, they used those big fat smoothie blades. Have you ever used them to scull?
No, we never used them. Like, it was a long time ago when I was rowing. But yeah, we never used those when they just started to come out, and they weren't really a thing. But because no one really knew about the type of measurement to use for them to maximise, the use of them and try and get more speed out of actually rowing with them. But yeah, when you have a double that goes and uses them win Olympic Games, everybody's going to want to start trying them.
There you go. So we look at the blades of Cal. This is a great race, shaping up to be a great race. I think Cal getting themselves into the race as we go down the course. Jane Perignon, the 23-year-old, having a look across there. Annabelle Ertel in the two seats. Face right down the boat. The pain on the face of Tabo Stecklenburg at 3 seats. Her first time competing at Henley Royal Regatta, used to row in Amsterdam, but she's studying at Cal Berkeley, and Della Luke in the stroke seat. But the Australians are still handing it to them, the women from the Australian National University and Huon Boat Club.
And I think you've got two very different styles here. You've got a very, in tune small unit, if you want to call it the lightweight boat, moving in really in sync, and more of the strength element coming from the Cal Berkeley crew. It's not as efficient the way it's kind of moving, and the way those actual blades are entering and moving through the water together. So, but that's probably because they've been doing sweep all year. So they would have been perfecting the particular technique.
So what it is, Cal have got more power, and the women from Australia got more finesse. So it's power versus finesse in a way.
And it's whether the finesse can continue using or maximising the power that they have, which obviously isn't as much, or whether the technique breaks down at the Cal crew and they aren't moving efficiently with the strength they have, and can they maintain that strength all over the track?
The umpire's warning California. Not sure if that was Sarah Winklis, I heard. So California down, it is Sarah Winklis umpiring the race, and California have come right out to the Australians, who have narrow lead at the moment. This is a cracking race. California struck by Della Luke. What can they unleash? If they're more powerful, can they unleash a surge that the Australians couldn't counter?
They can do, but it depends how hard they've been working by not moving technically efficiently the rest of the course. So it'd be interesting to see, you know, how much that's kind of taken out of them. And obviously they had to steer there, so that obviously stops the boat speed. If you're the Australian boat, you would have tried to capitalise on that. You know, just had a squeeze to try and just move that a bit more.
So shout out to Nigel Harding, the coach of the Australian crew, who has done such a great job with them. Australian women, of course, picked up the bronze medal in the Tokyo Olympics in the women's quad, likewise in the men's squad. There we see the Australians, Alex Moylan, the 22-year-old in the stroke seat. It's her first time competing at this regatta. She has sculled brilliantly down this course. I think the 2-seat there, Sophie Gerard-Petris, is giving some calls. Yeah, you can see her giving the calls, Mark.
Yeah, and hopefully, well, you'd expect they're growing in confidence. They can see the Cal Berkeley crew beside them, but they must keep moving out because, you know, in this Henley course, if you let the other crew beside you, just had a crab there from the Cal Berkeley crew, just lost their blade. This is the opportunity now for Australia to really stamp their authority on this race.
What do you do? What do you do when you see another crew catch a crab like that? Do you put in a burst? Do you put your foot on their throat?
You would put it on now. Yeah, you don't want to give them a chance to come back into play and start to challenge you. So yeah, you can't do it instantly because there's 4 people. It'd be in 2, 1, whatever it may be. But it's something that you try to practice in training, of how you respond when you've got an opportunity to kind of open up a gap on someone if they make a mistake.
So there is the back of Maggie Foley, 22-year-old. First Henley for her. She's bronze medalist in the Australian Championships. And graduate of Mercyhurst College in the USA. Really.
And that's going to take a momentous amount of energy to get back on terms there. So that is going to be really tough to kind of bring that gap back. But, you know, it's like if you get the bit between your teeth and you start really kind of pounding it, it'd be interesting to see how the Cal Berkeley crew can respond to that.
I think we're going to see a big charge for the finish for Cal Berkeley. They are trying to get contact and get the overlap. I look down the course and there's about 200 metres left to go. Cal are gaining with every stroke, but I think it's going to be too late. Della Luke there, intent. Concentration on the faces. The bow woman is, Jane Perignon, is screaming out for effort. They're going for the overlap, but it's the Australian crew, Australian National University and Huon Boat Club coming through to the finish. Nice course straight along the booms. There's just about 5 strokes left. California still gaining, but it's too little too late after that crab.
The efficiency's winning in this particular battle today.
Australia across the finish line to win this heat of the Princess Grace Challenge Cup from University of Cal Berkeley. And that meant a lot to them. Pats on the back there. Eve Muir patting Alex Moylan on the back.